Hello and welcome to my presentation. My name is Christina Carday, Digital Marketing Master's Degree student here with Full Sail University. And today I'm going to be discussing the Brand Ambassador Program launch for the ilovekickboxing.com studio here in Winter Park, Florida. So just to recap, last week we spoke about the reasons for choosing a brand ambassador program for this particular company. And there were a few different factors that stood out specifically. There's a high brand consumer engagement, a lot of feedback, a lot of interaction between the company and its consumer base. So because of that high consumer engagement, it was really easy to pinpoint brand ambassadors that would be good for the company. These ambassadors are very specific and identifiable. You can tell by their social media posts, their participation in both online and in studio events, who they are. So they were very easy to identify, and they are a really powerful source for the brand. So because of that, it was good to link them with the brand ambassador program, and that was another strong factor in why we chose that. Of course, the ROI is measurable with this, especially starting on a smaller scale with just the Winter Park gym. It's easy to tell who those brand ambassadors are and what the ROI is coming specifically from this program. So to start out with, we're going to do a test launch, starting with the I Love Kickboxing Studio in Winter Park. I'm not sure if the I Love Kickboxing.com brand has done this as a whole. Like I said before, it's 250 franchise locations worldwide, so I don't know if anything on a large scale has been attempted as far as a brand ambassador program, but I would recommend going with a brand ambassador test launch just at the Winter Park site to begin with. So it would consist of Central Florida engagement in Orlando, in the surrounding areas, both online and offline through social media and inside the studio. So the engagement would be twofold there. And the fans and the leaders for this program, they'd be more easily identifiable since we're dealing with a much smaller demographic and, people that the ilovekickboxing.com gym in Winter Park already deals with on a daily basis. So the return on investment expected for this, we're looking for a 10% increase in the in-studio visits from new patrons. So 10% to begin with, just to see how this works out and to see how that brand ambassador engagement translates into new business. So 10% increase in the in-studio visits, the increase to be measured over a 60-day time frame. And this is also to lay the template for brand ambassador programs at other studios. So if this works at the Winter Park location and we're able to increase that in-studio engagement through either new visits or new memberships by 10% in just that 60 days, it would be a good selling point, so to speak, to the other studios elsewhere to also implement something like this at their locations. So our target audience, we talked about this before, but we're looking at members of the target audience who are in the Central Florida area specifically for this brand ambassador launch. So over the age of 18, because they do need to be over the age of 18 to participate in the studio, both online and offline in the Central Florida area. And specifically if they're looking for a new fitness home or a new fitness experience, because we want to turn these new visits into new memberships. So we want people who are actually looking for a new place to go for a new health and fitness experience. So our ambassadors for the program, like I said before, they're easy to identify because there's a lot of different sources to pull from. The I Love Kickboxing Studio in Winter Park actually opened its doors the summer of last year. I believe it was July last year. And everyone who joined the studio, either before it opened or within a month or two of the studio opening, are considered to be its founding members. So these are people who got in on the ground floor of the ilovekickboxing.com studio in Winter Park. They were offered special rates to become founding members, special incentives for founding members. So the founding member base of Kickboxers is a really good place to start with for in-studio brand ambassador patrons. We could see who is still engaged with the studio actively, from within that founding member base, looking specifically for people who are still in regular attendance, who attend 3 times a week or more. That's what we would be looking for with the founding members group, and we can definitely draw brand ambassadorship from that group. Other areas to look for are people who are just highly engaged with the studio, both online and offline, who are always participating in contests, the different events that the studio has to offer. These are the people that are always there, the quote unquote gym rats, so to speak, of kickboxing. So these are the people that we want to target specifically, also in addition to the founding members for the brand ambassador program, because they're there as already, they're already excited about the brand, they're already participating. So we might as well use them and their participation and their voice, to be a part of this program. And then of course, social media engagement. So those people who are always on social media posting pictures of themselves and in their gear in Facebook, or, tagging people in their location. Hey, here to get another kickboxing session in. Those people who do that most frequently, from the Winter Park location, those would be the other group that we would be looking at for this program. So the program itself, we want to cultivate engagement within that group of people that I was talking about. So those different groups of people who engage with the Winter Park Studio, we want to make this a program that they want to engage in from the inside out. So starting with an individual contact from the studio owner, we can have the owner personally reach out via social media messenger, via email, via phone. Once these people have been identified, I would probably say maybe about 20 members. Since this is a local studio, I would say that's more than good enough, both in studio involvement and online involvement. The owner could personally contact them, or the manager of the studio, with a personalized message. We want you to, help us get the word out about the studio, get people pumped, get them in here, and pitch them this launch that we're doing. So they would have exclusive studio access once a week. The gym is open Monday through Saturday at specific times. So we would include another time in there specifically just for brand ambassadors, so they could come have their own kickboxing session and afterwards discuss the brand ambassador program and some ideas and what they think they can do to get more people into the studio. We'll also have an exclusive page on Facebook just for our brand ambassadors, so they could get to know one another. They can interact if they haven't done so before in the studio, and they could, shoot ideas back and forth. We can put our pitches on there and our posts about what we're looking for, weekly challenges on what we're trying to do to get people into the studio and engage with new patrons. So I think a Facebook page, since Facebook is the #1 social media platform for the brand, I do think a Facebook page for our ambassadors would be really good for them to interact with studio management, employees, and also with each other. I think in order to get them involved and have them look forward to something, I think doing feature stories about our ambassadors, maybe a different ambassador or two every single week on the corporate website and corporate social media sites, putting them out there as, these are our brand ambassadors, this is their story, this is what they were like when they came to us, and this is what they're like now. I think that would be a great incentive to get our ambassadors to engage with the program. And also special VIP gear, special VIP ambassador t-shirt, things for them to wear, different things to kind of set them apart from other just regular kickboxers or new patrons. And so they can also see, hey, if you get to that VIP status, you could be part of the brand ambassador program too. So in my opinion, the perfect person to head up this program would be Vanika Claus. I would have her as the brand ambassador program manager. She has been a manager at the Winter Park Studio for a little while now. She started out as a founding member and a kickboxing instructor at the Winter Park Studio. I know personally, just from dealing with her on myself, because I'm a founding member, that she is really big on brand ambassadorship. She's done little things in the studio on her own, given incentives to people to kind of get them into the studio. So not really brand ambassador focused, just mass get the word out there. So she's kind of done things like this before in the studio, but she's all about empowering the kickboxers and using their influence to get new patrons into the studio. So I would definitely say she would be the one to kind of head this up and oversee the launch program. ROI would be measured at the end of the 60 days. Obviously, there would be, keeping an assessment of the data, the new memberships, the new visits, new followings on social media. That would be measured over the period of 60 days. And at the end of the 60 days, we would compare the data from the beginning to the end, see how many new followers on social media, see how many new visits to the studio, how many new memberships or just interests that we have over that 60 days with this program, and put that data together to present to the corporate office and to other studios. So if they want to, they can implement this brand ambassador program at their individual studios. And just by the way it's set up, I do think this is something that we could keep going and add things to and add new people to. Definitely wouldn't be a one-time thing. But to start off with, I think that doing the test launch site at the Winter Park Studio would be a good way to see how this works out. Thank you so much for being a part of this presentation. I hope that this provided a good amount of information on what a brand ambassador program test launch would look like at a local studio. What?